positive. The Detroit Lions, Colin, this team is a machine. They just rolled to their 10th win of the year. First time in franchise history they've had those kind of back-to-back double-digit win seasons. Another fun fact, it was their 6th road win of the year to keep them undefeated away from Detroit. Jared Goff talked about that road record.
We are road warriors. We love it. We come together on the road. We are, us against the world mentality. And then, like you said, it's fun when we can get our own fans here. And the way they show out, it's really unbelievable. They do a hell of a job.
Ask yourself this. They're number one in the league in, wins, point differential.
Almost everything.
If they face the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you're good at the lines.
Wait.
What would the lines be if they met the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Because I think Detroit would be favored by a touchdown.
No way.
Honestly,
a touchdown?
Absolutely.
No way, Colin. That's insane. Come on. A touchdown?
They are the most dominant NFL team since the Randy Moss Brady Patriots. They are
regular season. We've seen this from the Ravens last year.
What do odds makers judge the line on? What you're doing now?
The Lions, I probably -2. It would be similar to the Niners
I bet
last
Detroit.
year.
Oh my Lord! 2 weeks rest for this team.
2 weeks to prepare for Andy Reid off a bye. The Andy Reid extra.
As his offense sits and watches the Lions have a 9-play, 7-minute drive.
So this defense for the Lions is pretty damn good. In the second half of the last 3 games, they've outscored their opponents 53-0.
Well,
the defense hasn't given up a point.
You know why? Because they always lead by 2 touchdowns. So you're forcing Anthony Richardson, who...
Yeah, he dropped back and passed way too much.
Well, what are you going to do? So the thing about Detroit's defense, we don't think their personnel is great. They have a great safety. They've got a linebacker people like. They've got a handful of guys. But what happens is when you know what the other team is forced to do by the late second quarter, like Anthony Richardson.
It was only 14-6. I thought they bailed a little early.
I did too.
They didn't have a first down in the entire third quarter.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here for various reasons. First off, Colin has really come full circle on the Detroit Lions now, saying that they would be favored by a touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. When Colin has been railing on the Lions all season, saying, the Chiefs, I'm still picking the Chiefs over the Lions. I don't trust the Lions situationally, this, that. Now he's saying that they're going to be favored. And he said on his podcast yesterday that the Lions would blow out the Chiefs, which is what I had been saying for weeks and weeks and weeks. And watching them beat the Colts 24-6 is not what taught me that lesson, quite frankly. So it's just so funny to kind of hear. And now you have J-Mac kind of pushing back and saying it's regular season. We've seen this with these other teams, the Ravens and this or that. First off, I don't care about other teams. That's number one. First and foremost, I do not care because each team is so different. Who has their team ready to prepare and ready to play on game day better? The Ravens or the Lions? The answer is the Lions. We're not even going to play that game for too long. Okay? I mean, coaching fundamentally matters. Who comes up with better game plans? Who has their team just game day ready more? The Lions or, say, the Ravens or the 49ers of last year even. I mean, again, this is different. This team is ready to play, ready to dominate, ready to be ballers. I mean, that's the difference. And yeah, their offense is wild. And their defense, they're surprised. Their defense is pretty good. Which, again, I had been saying for weeks. Because everyone kept kind of saying, their defense is not good. And it's no, their offense is just so electric. So technically, their defense is their weak point, but that's just because their offense is so dominant that nothing can live up to that. So, technically it'll be a weakness. But it's just so great to see teams like this. Yeah, the Lions, the Eagles, 2 really physical, dynamic offenses. I really hope we get to see both those teams in the NFC Championship game. I think we're owed that as football fans to see these 2 top teams go head to head. NFC Championship game, both can lay it on each other, right? Both can pile on the points. Both really physical, both iconic franchises. So I really hope that's what we get. It would feel like a letdown if it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't even want to say another random team, but it feels like that's what the football gods owe us. Okay, they owe us this great, awesome, historic battle, Lions Eagles NFC Championship, because I feel like also that'll be the game that everyone will say this is going to decide the Super Bowl. This feels like the Super Bowl. That's why I want to see it NFC Championship game, not some other random early round, whatever it may be, or just unlucky and not even get that matchup at all. But no, I mean, I think the Lions have been great. I mean, it doesn't even really seem necessary to even unpack this game, honestly, because it just means so little from this point forward, honestly. I mean, it really is. It's just like, obviously it's just like keep getting the wins and stuff like that, but there's not even like really strong, there's just like no strong takeaways. Because I know how dominant the Lions are, and the fact that they only gave up 6 points, like, it doesn't even mean anything to me, because, like, again, it was against the Colts. It was Anthony Richardson. I mean, AR was 11 for 28 with the 60 rating, and that was not because of the Lions' fantastic defense. I'll be completely honest with you. Offensively, AR is just completely all over the place, and the Colts are just all over the place. So it's just not even that impressive. And the Lions, I don't even think, played particularly well against the Colts, quite frankly. But they obviously still won and still played good enough. But Jared Goff, 26 for 36, 269 yards, 7.5 yards per attempt, 93 rating, 33 carries for 137 rushing. They dominated the time of possession, 37 minutes to 22. And they were 9 for 15 on third. So again, this was like a very straightforward game. This game definitely felt a little bit harder than it should have been. But again, not every game is going to be 100% perfect, smooth, no issues, 52-0. Like, that's not what every game is going to be. We know that. And so even these types of wins can still feel really good, really comfortable, confident. But again, the name of the game continues for the Lions to just, it's not even so much to establish huge dominant wins against teams like the Colts. It's just, the name of the game right now is to just not have any of those bad drops where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you just randomly lost to the Colts. Like, you had that game won and you let AR go 10 for 10 in the fourth quarter and score 2 touchdowns to lose it, right? Like, those random drops that you're just like, oh my God, now you're tied for the number 1 seed instead of having the 1 seed. Like, that is who the Lions have to continue to be, is to not necessarily impose their will every single game, because that's just virtually impossible, but it's just to minimize the risk of dropping a game that you need not drop. Because when you really think about it, and again, we know football does not unfold this way, we know that, but when you really think about it, when you're looking at a team like the Lions, it would almost feel indefensible, outside of, we just know that's the way sports works, that they should not lose another game. They should win every single game from here on out, including playoffs and Super Bowl in a large way, right? Like, it just doesn't feel that another team should get the best of them. And any loss will feel like it is, on them more than the other team. So that's why it's just kind of like, don't lose sight of that, because they could have dropped that game against the Texans, for instance, but they were obviously able to come away and get that win. Like, that could have been one of those random games where it's like, how did you just drop that? And because, again, look what the Texans versus the Titans were, and the Titans aren't a good team, and the Titans beat the Texans. So it's like, like that's what's so crazy about football. On one moment, in 1 minute, you can be so dominant, so ferocious, pile on the points, and the next minute, you can be in a weird, tight battle with a team that you're just like, we are so much more significantly better than you. Like, how is this even happening? How is this even unfolding? So, but again, I don't see the risk with the Lions. To compare them to the Ravens of last year, again, to me feels so silly, because the Ravens felt like they were already celebrating their Super Bowl. They were already, booking the hotels to the trips and writing their speeches for the parade and stuff like that. Whereas the Lions, to their core, know the road has just begun. We still got a long way to go. We still got to work harder than ever now that we are a target, and let's go. And so that's why I just don't think that there's much of risk. Again, it's not to say that the Lions are absolutely going to just rip off wins and win the Super Bowl and no problem about it. But like, because again, it is sports, it is football. But in terms of the Lions dropping in the way that we saw the Ravens do and maybe other teams of the past, I just don't see it. But yeah, this season's going to continue to get really, really interesting. And like I said, I really do hope that we get just Eagles Lions NFC Championship game. Should be the seemingly the two best teams in the NFL, honestly, quite frankly. And yeah, hopefully we get to see that head-to-head matchup. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? And according to Colin, they're the most dominant team since the New England Patriots with Randy Moss. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.